Did you know that Africans minted coins and built stone obelisks centuries before most of Europe? Let's start with the myth that Africa was discovered by Europeans in the 15th century. The truth is Africans had established civilizations millennia before European contact. Take Aksum in Ethiopia, for example. By 330 CE, Aksum was minting coins and had adopted Christianity, long before many European nations. When the Portuguese arrived in Benin City in 1485, they described it as larger and better organized than Lisbon. The Songhai Empire controlled 1.4 million square kilometers, larger than Western Europe, with an organized civil service. Another myth claims Great Zimbabwe was built by Arabs or Europeans. The reality is Great Zimbabwe was constructed by indigenous Shona ancestors between 1100 and 1450 CE. This stone city housed 18,000 people and its walls still stand 800 years later, built without mortar. Archaeological finds confirm its African origin with no foreign construction tools. Timbuktu was not a small, isolated village but a global university city and intellectual hub. At its peak, Timbuktu had 25,000 students and a library holding 700,000 manuscripts, larger than any in Europe during the Middle Ages. It was a major center for gold, salt, and Islamic scholarship. The myth that Africans had no mathematics or writing is also false. The Ishango bone from Congo, dating back 20,000 years, shows multiplication, prime numbers, and possibly lunar calendars, older than European math. Egyptian geometry calculated pi and used the golden ratio 2,000 years before Greece. Africans developed hieroglyphs and CBD script, predating many European writing systems. Slavery did not destroy the African family structure. Dr. John Hope Franklin and Herbert Gutmann's 1976 research showed that African families remained resilient and complex under slavery. Free black and biracial communities existed in Louisiana, Maryland, Virginia, and Ohio well before abolition. Africans were not passive victims of colonization. They actively petitioned, litigated, and organized against slavery before the American Revolution. Efforts against segregation began in the 1880s, with significant impact by the late 1930s. Africa's contributions to global commerce are also overlooked. The kola nut, indigenous to Africa, inspired the name Coca-Cola. The Ishango bone demonstrates sophisticated mathematics, predating the Pythagorean theorem. Nearly 25% of slaves in the Carolinas in the 1730s were Cherokee, Creek, or other Native Americans, a fact often suppressed. From the 1500s to early 1700s, small numbers of white people were also enslaved. The myth of African discovery is debunked by the fact that Africans lived in Cape Bojeda before Portuguese explorer Gillins claimed to discover it in 1434. The first permanent European settlement in sub-Saharan Africa, the Agen Island Fortress, marked the start of the slave trade in 1443, not discovery. Benin City was so vast and organized that the Portuguese compared it to Lisbon. The city was later burned by the British in 1897. Before writing, Africans had inheritance systems, calendars, laws, and religion, ideas they carried as they migrated out of Africa. Modern humans originated in Africa, with the first tools, art, and language appearing there approximately 200,000 years ago. Africa's complex statehood, urbanization, and international trade existed independently of Europe or Asia. African gold, kola nuts, and manuscripts were central to the global economy of the Middle Ages. The Songhai Empire's tax system and civil service were models of efficiency. The resilience of the African family under slavery is crucial for understanding African-American cultural continuity today. African mathematics, exemplified by the Ishango bone and Egyptian geometry, laid the foundation for global science. The rediscovery of Great Zimbabwe and Timbuktu fosters pride in pre-colonial heritage in modern Zimbabwe and Mali. The kola nut remains a vital crop in West Africa, and Timbuktu's manuscripts are being preserved digitally. Historical black petitioning connects directly to modern movements like Black Lives Matter. African words and musical ideas revolutionized American culture. Modern African architects are reviving traditional stone masonry inspired by Great Zimbabwe. The white savior narrative that Europeans civilized Africa is a suppressed truth. The Ishango bone and Egyptian geometry are often omitted from math curricula. The myth that slavery destroyed the African family is a deliberate distortion. The erasure of Native American slavery maintains a binary black versus white narrative. Colonial authorities claim Great Zimbabwe was built by Phoenicians or Arabs until archaeological evidence proved otherwise.